All right. Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy CJ Wilk. Today coming at y'all with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to How to Die Rich, a 15-step actionable plan from Alux. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Here you go.
Who are worth a lot of money later in life, they don't do what everyone else is doing. Through the Alux app, we run one of the largest high net worth networks, helping the rich get richer through coaching and peer groups. And, in our research, we found 15 steps that anyone can take to dramatically improve their chances of getting rich. This might sound a little bit harsh, but we will bully you into success if we have to, because nobody benefits if you die miserable and broke. So strap in. Here are 15 steps to be worth a lot when you die. Welcome
Okay,
to Alux,
15 steps. Let's see if they got something for us that's really going. Because mind you, I feel like sometimes when you're trying to apply yourself and like learn new information, you got to kind of put yourself in the position of the student. And to be a good learner, I think, is to want to apply the thing that you learn into your real life to be able to make it an actual like a wise thing, rather than it just being somebody telling you something and you not knowing how to apply it. So let's see if this 15-step actionable plan is actually applicable in my life, or if you're watching this, your life.
Capable in a lucrative industry that's growing in demand.
Okay.
So there's two
What's an
parts to
example
this
of a
one.
lucrative
First,
industry that's growing in
find an
demand?
elevator going up.
My
The
thoughts,
industry you
technology.
choose is more important than your ability to perform within it. You'll learn as the industry evolves, and you will rise up with it. Don't sell newspapers, okay? Every generation gets 2 to 3 technological revolutions. All of them
technology.
can and will make you rich if you pay attention to them. Now, secondly, become capable, meaning you can get shit done in exchange for money.
Being
Make a
valuable,
living by
yeah.
checking either one of these boxes. You will get rich.
I think if you're in the right industry and you're able to get shit done in that industry, you could most definitely be extremely like high value. You know what I mean? Like that's just an easy way to just like be something that people need, and then be actually like applying yourself in that industry. Like imagine if you're the best, like you're the best at what you do, and what you do is what everybody's starting to need more and more and more of. Like that's the quickest way for you to be. It's not gonna make you rich, or it could make you rich. It's gonna make you a high value, which means people are gonna be willing to spend money with you because you're something that's needed. Anyways, I agree with this point.
Check both. Your income is your primary wealth building tool. If you check both boxes, something incredible happens. At the end of the month, you have excess capital. Repeat after me. Excess capital is for investing, not pleasure.
100%.
The goal is to have enough money so that you're free from money problems. It all starts with excess capital deployed.
I want to add to that point. I think excess capital should be broken down, or really money in general is meant to be broken down into 3 primary categories. And that is food, or not food, wants and needs, like which are like food, water, shelter, or like taking care of things. You know what I mean? You got to be able to survive. 2 is like savings, meaning like being able to have money put aside for big expenses, things that are either big ticket items or are things that you have to save up a lot for. And then the third is investing. I feel like money is meant to go into things that either make you more money or solve problems in the world. So if you have, an excess of money, putting that money, and when I say excess, I mean you have, your bills are taken care of, the people that you love are safe, you have things put to the side so that, you don't, you can fall back on your own. If you can be able to cover those 2 bases, all other money should be invested. I mean, why not put it towards solving problems in the world, like making, water more accessible, or being able to have cleaner energy, or just investing in a company that you started, and you want to see a dream come true. Like that's what I believe money is meant for. It's meant to kind of make things better. You know what I mean? So if you have the ability to invest excess capital, invest it into a business, or start a business, or help fund somebody's business that already is, pushing towards making the world better. Yeah.
Pretend you don't have it in the first place and keep focused on your grind. Number 2, switch jobs frequently with salary bumps.
My journey into trading, like that learning curve, has exponentially just gotten a lot shorter.
Look, there's no such thing as loyalty if it comes at the expense of your family's well-being. Anyone who's in demand will be offered opportunities. Use your judgment and take them. Establish yourself as valuable in your industry, and the opportunities will only get better.
Yeah, I second that
There's
point.
a limited amount of time when you're in demand, and milk it. Jump from pay bump to pay bump early. Learn as much as you can about the rules of the game, as it's about you doing the work. Keep your lifestyle low. Don't move into a nicer place. Don't go on expensive holidays. No flashy cars. Don't try to impress the girls at this stage. You don't have the funds to do it. With every recruiter and salary bump, you'll have more and more excess capital. And in 2 to 3 years, you'll feel very secure in your shoes, and you'll get good at it.
So they make the point that it's smart for you to move like careers frequently because there's salary bumps. I've seen that work, and I do agree with that to an extent. I feel like the limit for me is what industries are you jumping over and like why. The reason why I say that is because you could jump from career to career to career to career to career, and that's not a bad thing. Like you can make your life more fun if you have like more like experience in different areas, meaning you get more money and you'll be able to have like cooler like jobs or like a cooler experience. But I don't think it's a thing that you should just go and, I don't know, just jump around a bunch of careers for no reason. You know what I mean? Like that is actually, a bunch of life-changing things. Like your career kind of builds your lifestyle. Like imagine if one day you were working at Nike and then the next day you're working at Adidas. It's like, that's cool. But then you go work at Under Armour and then you go work at Puma. It's like, all right, you're in the same niche, but each of these different companies is all technically competing. So if they have like a non-complete cause, then you know what I'm saying? Or if you're constantly having to move from state to state to state, it's like an NBA player getting traded every other day. Like, bro, you're going to be mad if you have to keep getting traded. Like, I get it. All right, boom, new city. All right, now I'm the point guard that's, coming off or went from coming off the bench to now I'm the point guard that's starting. It's like, all right, cool. But if you already have a star player role, like you don't need to switch to a bunch of different cities. Big markets is different. I mean, if you want to join like a big three, I'm just giving examples. I just don't think that switching career paths a million times is the move, though. It's like switching your degree a million times. It's like, all right, maybe you switch it up like 2 or 3 times. Like, bro, no. I try to have my career be constantly on the move, bro. Give me some like stability and, you know what I mean? Like consistency,
Number 3, take projects on the side. The better you are at what you do, the more efficient you become. When you're young, you've got the ability to deploy time more effectively, since you don't have that many dependencies and you're not looking to add any new big ones. This allows you the time to work outside of work. Yes, if you're poor and you want to be rich, you don't have the luxury of wasting time, especially since you're racing against poverty and inflation. Either get another part-time job, even if you don't need to, or start a project on the side.
I believe in starting projects on the side for sure, or getting like a part-time.
Puppies, not cure diseases. All of that comes later. You're hungry for wealth, and all of this effort is to put food on the table and fill up your fridge. Number 4, invest in your financial and skill education. The money will grow, and you'll feel the need to spoil yourself, to treat yourself, and the little voice in your head, and maybe even the voices of your poor friends, will tell you that you've earned it. If you can see the starting line, you haven't earned shit yet. You're 1 to 2 bad decisions away from going right back to where you started, so do not lose focus.
And that's kind of the point that I was making earlier about compartmentalizing it into wants and needs, like savings and then investments. I learned that you don't want to, try and jump too far if you can't maintain the levels that you're at, because you don't want to regress. The most important thing is to not regress in life. That is the main key. If you have something that you've acquired, you want to maintain that, and you don't want to have to regress backwards from that. Regressing hurts twice as much as having to maybe never or reach it slowly, or then, reach it at a point where it's like you have to grind for it. If you grind for something and you achieve it and you never have to go backwards, then the grind was worth it. But if you grind for something and you don't get to maintain it and you have to lose it and then you have to go twice as far back to move twice as far forwards, that hurts 10 times more. And I just don't think it's a good idea if you have to go through that. And if you've ever have gone through that, you know that that shit is just, yeah. So I agree with this point about, investing in your financial skill and education so that you don't regress. Regression is the main thing we try to avoid in this financial literacy.
Talk to users who are worth 20, 50, $100 million, and they're still afraid of losing it all. The golden rule here is reinvest returns instead of upgrading your lifestyle.
Yeah, be patient with lifestyle inflation.
Is yourself, okay? Nothing will pay you a bigger dividend than you knowing how money works, because nobody can.
Let me add to that as well. Knowing how money works is very, very, very important, and also knowing how to scale your life at a manageable rate. So when I moved to my first apartment, instead of just filling it up with a bunch of furniture and not knowing, if I was going to change the setup of it or not knowing what each room was going to be, I decided to progressively increase the things that I had inside the house based off of what the utilization was in the house. So for an example, I started wanting to, I started off with cutting hair in my house, right? When I was cutting hair in my house, I put the barber chair inside of the living room, and the living room became like the spot that I was cutting hair out of. And as I progressively started to live more and more and more in the house, I decided to move the barbering stuff out of the house and switch it over to then getting the couch. Then when I got the couch, I was like, all right, let me add in like a TV stand. Then I started, I was like, all right, let me add in like a book safe, right? Then next thing you know, I started adding in different things, and the house kind of started to adapt and grow as I grew as a man, right? So what I'm saying to say is, if you're going to have that same mentality about your lifestyle, don't just jump to piece in a bunch of things because they look good or because you seen them on TikTok Shop or somebody on Amazon was saying that, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, it's good to decorate for show, and you definitely want to have your life improve. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely want to level up, but you want to level up at a maintainable, sustainable level. Like, you want to make sure that every time that you do progress and every time that you do, hit higher levels, those different levels are able to be maintained and they fit into your life. You know what I mean? You don't want to have a lifestyle that you can't afford or a lifestyle that you don't want. And especially if you get a lifestyle that you don't want and can't afford. That's the thing that we definitely don't want you to have. So if anything, I would say progressively allow yourself to increase the value of the things that you have and then implement new things based off of what's needed. Like, you don't need 100 spoons if you only have a bowl of cereal. You get what I mean? Or I don't know if that's a good analogy. The point is, though, you want to have things based off their utility. And if something is useful and is necessary, then that's what you implement into your life. Don't just throw up a million things because it's a million things. You know what I mean?
Take away
all right, back to the video.
First you learn, then you remove the L.
Yeah.
As you earn more, you learn more, which leads to even more earnings.
That's the entire idea of college.
Spend
Spend 45 years in this location. In these years that you're here at this location, invest in your education. As you get smarter, boom, you're going to be worth more because you're going to know more things. Bada boom, bada bang.
5. Measure your net worth and optimize for it. Poor people never measure their net worth. You can't improve something you don't measure. If you don't know what your current net worth is, go to alux.com/NW right now to see how well you're doing. Once you know what goes into it, you can start to optimize. Income plus understanding investments plus network is what's going to make you rich.
100%.
You rid yourself of debt to break free from your bank overlords and own your life again.
100%.
If you're gonna work like a slave, you might as well have the proceeds going to you. There are 3 big stages of net worth that you need to achieve in life. First is when your net worth is positive, meaning your assets outweigh your debt.
100%.
Second is when your net worth crosses $350,000, meaning you're able to support yourself for longer than 6 months if something ever happened. And third, when your net worth crosses $1.5 million, meaning you're finally on the way up. These numbers are benchmarked for the U.S. market, so feel free to adjust them to your local geography. Now,
350
this isn't for everyone, but
and then
if one day you
1.5
want to be
million.
worth over $10 million.
Quick question. What do y'all think? What amount of money do you think you could, sustain to keep your fire going for the next 6 to 8 months? Comment down below what you think and what amount of money will be able to keep you sustained for based off of your current budgets and how much you spend now. 6 to 8 months, how much? Let me know.
ALUX.com/app right now and get yourself a yearly subscription. Our expert coaches will show you how to scale a business, distilling decades of money wisdom into days. Our 2,000 plus library of premium content will break down market trends and every kind of investment that you should make for this decade. And in the ALUX network, other high net worth individuals provide vetted recommendations, like which banker to use, which accounting firms, where to incorporate to save some tax, all that good stuff. This level of insight does not come cheap, but for the right people, that ROI is positive on day one. So go to alux.com/app to download it and scan this QR code for 25% off your
It's an
yearly
ad.
membership. And just a little register the time it control your impulse to show off. Stay away from credit card debt, okay? You don't need a new car. You don't need to borrow money to go on vacation. If you don't have the money, you don't need it right now. Wait until you earn that money and then decide if all that hard work is worth spending or buying you a little more freedom. You'll feel this need to prove to others that you're doing great. Stop. Their approval will not pay for your kid's private school. In the long run, everyone you want to impress is irrelevant, okay? Everyone who made it on their own side of wealth is nodding their heads right now. You're not competing with your colleagues, your workmates, your schoolmates, or your neighbors. You're competing against the richest version of yourself, and your goal is to make this timeline be the one where you thrive.
I like that point right there. I'm gonna add to that point. I think it's important to recognize that you are in this marathon of life, not against yourself, with yourself. The reason why I say that is because you're not battling yourself in a sense. You can compete with yourself, but you're not battling yourself. You're working with yourself to achieve the goals that you have. And sometimes that requires you challenging yourself the same way you would challenge a friend or the same way a friend would challenge you. And that means holding yourself accountable. I think in this game of life, we all have the intention of pursuing some type of purpose or having some type of experience. I think you curate your experience based off of what level of relationship you have with yourself. Meaning, if I know that I am trustworthy enough to take on a big investment or take on a big responsibility because I know I'll drive it to completion, then that's what I'll trust myself to do. I'll trust myself to take on these higher responsibilities and then be able to move those responsibilities past the goalpost. I think the hard part is sometimes you run into obstacles in the real world that make it feel like you can't. And sometimes they're external. It might be people that you know or around you, or it might be your environment. But I think ultimately it's about how you interact with that environment or how you handle those struggles that determines whether or not you'll be successful or whether or not you'll be kind of complacent in your own struggle. And being complacent in the struggle is a difficult place to be. Trust me, I've been there before. And I think it's one of those hard things where when you finally do reach past that point, you kind of battle to not have to go back to that. But getting through that is really what helps you to make a case for who you are as a person. Making that case for yourself is kind of the thing that makes you like have confidence, is being able to like keep going and kind of pushing through that struggle. Many times in my life, I have had to figure out something and I've just ran into brick wall after brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. And I've had things where I have continuously grown and doubled my growth every year. And then I've had some years where it felt like I got shot in the face or I felt like I got punched down. You know what I mean? And every time that I went through those struggles, I really just reflected on what the entire process was and how long of a time I was like fighting and how much I had to fight for, and just seeing what brought those obstacles and how I was able to get through them. Because ultimately I got through them, and that's how I'm here today on this video speaking, and that's how I'm able to watch this video. It's just the more and more we go through in life, the more and more we get experience to be able to either go further or to help bring more people up to where we're at, right? So I think it's mainly a thing of just going after it and then being able to work with yourself, not competing against yourself, working with yourself and challenging yourself to kind of, be great.
To do that, you need superior vehicles to build your wealth. And no, okay, a vehicle here does not mean a new G-Wagon. Number 7, become a professional and establish a business.
Yeah.
The way you go about this changes when you become a professional, okay? Think in decades. not in paychecks.
Yep.
With a business incorporated, you can deduct expenses, you can reinvest profits, you can build enterprise value for yourself.
I want to add to this a little bit before we get too far. As a business, the timeline for what your investments are expands. So let's say that you're in the car business, right? You can order cars, and the idea is you want to get those cars sold before the next year, before they depreciate in value, because cars each year kind of go down in value as new technology gets innovated. Being in business, you have to think about things as a lifetime. So I have something and I am investing in it, and this investment is not just for the very next day to instantly turn around and make me money. Sometimes that's not how it works. Sometimes you'll be working on it for 6 months before it makes the first crack of even a profit, right? And even then, you might just break even after 6 months. The point is, though, you want to put in this groundwork early, and the groundwork that you're putting in is going to inspire how big of a leap you take when you do finally break past that glass ceiling, right? When I first had my moment of breaking past the glass ceiling, it was after probably 2 to 3 years of grinding without having this, sense of success, or this idea that, proof of concept, the thing that I'm working hard towards has worked. It was 2 or 3 years before I even reached that point. Mind you, this is different in different businesses. For some YouTubers, they were YouTubers for 10 years before they finally saw, 1 million subscribers or monetized, or to the point where they actually could, live off of the work that they're doing. Business is like that. You really don't know when your moment's going to come. So you really just have to every day put in the work and continue to push towards the innovative business or innovation, just creating new every day, trying to find new ways of implementing strategies to make things better. Like that's what business is. You know what I mean? It's always kind of putting a step forward. So I agree with this right here. When you're building a business, it's very important that you kind of like put, what you have into it, and then look at it as like a timeline, not just like a snapshot of a moment. You know what I mean?
Think of it as the rich person's piggy bank. Billionaires don't become billionaires by saving dollar bills. No, they do it by making their own businesses worth billions and personally owning a chunk of that. If you need money, banks love businesses more than they love you. And in case shit hits the fan, LLC means limited liability company. That means the business will suffer, but not you. It costs under $300 to incorporate a business anywhere in the world these days, and you do it from your laptop. We were discussing which platforms to use in the app last week with our community. The business card shows up in the mail, and you can legit set up a business in less than 48 hours and start getting paid. Number 8, focus on your craft and save in stocks or crypto. Now, one thing people underestimate is how fast wealth happens. You think that you'll have this brilliant idea and money will start pouring in because those are the stories you read in the media. The truth is, it'll take you almost a decade to get rich, but you will get rich. Focus on your craft. Get better at whatever you do. Anything you earn over your life baseline should go straight into the S&P 500 or Bitcoin.
Now
When your portfolio gets big enough.
Hold on, let me pause it right here. So, remember how we were talking about investing and saving? Putting money into the S&P 500 index is a great idea. The reason why I say that is because that money that you're putting into that is not only supporting yourself, meaning putting a savings, it's paying off dividends if you invest in the right companies. Or the third thing is really just increasing in value if the companies that you invested in continue to run their business. So like S&P 500 is just an index of like the most high level companies. But if you wanted to, you could invest into specific companies. Like, for an example, Home Depot, Apple, McDonald's, Microsoft, to name a few. And each of these companies will have their own individual value versus it just being an index of all of the best companies in the world or in our country or etc. Putting money that you have aside, like saving money into it, is a great idea. And if you're thinking about, being an investor or just somebody that has like, a lot of money, putting like effort into your skill or like perfecting your craft is another way of increasing your value. If you're the best mechanic in the city, everybody gonna need you to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have value already inherently. If you keep investing into that craft, meaning you get more and more high level materials. Like if you treat your craft like it's a business, the same way Microsoft keeps investing in a new computer, or Apple invents a new phone every year. Every time that you invest in yourself, you increase the value of you. And so you being the thing that you're monetizing is really an easy way to make yourself a business and be able to make yourself high value. And then if you learn how to be able to use the money that you're making, meaning that high level of income, to one, invest more and increase your income, it's like imagine a waterfall that constantly cycles into its own water. It's like it starts as a lake, it gets elevated, and then when it gets up to this elevated point, it drops back into the lake. That creates energy, and it sustains the exact same water source. So that water source will get, increased technically because that potential energy from the initial drop. So let me build an analogy. So let's say that there's a base, right? This is a lake. And this is some type of magical tube. You know how you go to the water park and you got to go up these tubes and then they shoot you down? Let's say that this is like a tube that you go up, and this is the base. So this is the lake. It goes up. When it gets up to this elevated area, the gap created from this magical tube is considered potential energy. And if potential energy is money, stay with me now, then you've just created money from increasing the quote unquote value, or the where it's at, the plane of the water. So when it drops back into that same exact source, the same base, it now has energy behind it because it was elevated. And that's the work that you put in to create your craft. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, ask me questions. I'm explaining this concept the best that I can. It starts off as a base, it gets elevated, meaning something increased its value, it went up. When it reaches higher level, it fed back into the same source that it initially got it even up to that point, aka you just reinvested back in yourself. And now because of that, it's able to then repeat the same cycle. It's like a constant flow of increasing. So yeah, I think this is a great point.
And buy cash flowing assets like an apartment or a house.
Yeah, houses and cash flowing assets like houses and apartments are definitely a move. That's later on though. I think if you get to the point where you can afford to, invest into like a expensive property, then you could be able to make it a cash flowing asset.
From earning with your time to earning with your brain.
Just with education.
Experience and know-how, your time becomes more and more valuable. Instead of trading time for money, like making bread by hand, you build the machine that makes bread for you. Build once, sell a million times.
Yeah, this is the idea of IP.
The only way to truly be rich is to disconnect your earnings from yourself.
Yep.
You need to make money while you sleep.
Yeah.
That's when your skills go from doing the thing to hiring, training, and managing people to do the thing.
Yep.
That's when you finally become a business owner instead of having a job at your own company. On a long enough time horizon, all successful entrepreneurs go from hard skills to soft skills.
Yep.
Because they're substantially more profitable.
If you're building a company, you need to be using RAM. Nope.
Yeah, I want to add to that point. Hold on, let me pause this real quick. As a CEO or as a entrepreneur, you might begin as a high-level hard worker, and your skill is the thing that people like come to you for. And then you reach a point where you've scaled and you've gotten so high up that you can't do it all on your own. That's when you have to start working with other people, and that's where soft skills comes into play. Because, when you work with other people, you want to empower them so that they have the tools needed to be able to complete the job well and kind of reach the higher levels and keep ascending. But you also want to have the soft skills to make them, kind of be able to mesh well with your organization that you've already built, or be able to mesh well and be a good team. Some of the best things in the world have, been created from people collaborating, and some of, the greatest things we ever saw were lost because they couldn't have chemistry, they couldn't connect, they couldn't flow, they couldn't work together. And that's the main thing that I recognize, is that being able to connect and make things kind of cohesive is the main way to make organizations last. And that's how to keep scaling and increasing. People have different personalities, experiences. walks and shapes of life. So if you are able to find a way to bridge those gaps, then you no longer have to work. You just then have to be and exist, and your existence is what creates the plane for people to be able to work. And mind you, work is just pursuing a dream, improving your craft, earning, etc. So I say that to say each of these things is essential.
Into the market and have available liquidity for opportunities. Time in the market beats timing the market. DCA stands for dollar cost averaging. So it means you buy stocks consistently. That way you mitigate market movements. Rich people love the market because it's a piggy bank that grows for them. In case an opportunity presents itself, it's very easy to borrow money against your stock or even sell it with the push of a button. Keeping money in your bank account or under the mattress doesn't put enough distance between you and the funds, so you end up spending it. This not only grows your funds, but it gets you to qualify emergencies and opportunities before you liquidate. Number 11.
This right here was a good point. I didn't know about this one. Number 10. This point right here. Yeah, this is a great point right here. They said time in the market beats out timing the market. That's a good point. If you could spend more time in the stock market, if you were in there for 5 years, if you were able to pick up that March crash, if you were able to pick up the COVID crash, you're up. Who knows how much?
Buy cash flowing property until it covers your living expenses. One day in your journey, your assets will make you
This is
as
the idea
much
of real
money
estate.
as you used to make working in the beginning. That will be a really good day. Your brain will click into place, realizing that if you were to never alter your lifestyle, you could literally do nothing for work for the rest of your life. But you're good at what you do and you actually like working, so you keep at it. For the first time in your life, if you want to, you can spend earned income. The catch is, your earned income is substantial, and your brain won't let you spend all of it, so your wealth keeps on growing. Number 12. Don't do anything illegal or take unnecessary risks. Pay your taxes and don't take shortcuts. You're on the right path, so why freaking risk it, okay? Put a little bit on the side for unforeseen events, and you're golden. Don't let other people sell you their dreams at the expense of yours. Never sell the cow to buy milk. Never sell the cow. Invest in other people only if you're comfortable never seeing that money again. As a rule of thumb, never touch what takes care of you and your family.
You see,
Number 3.
my initial point earlier, that was a great point. My initial point earlier about being able to have wants and needs, meaning taking care of, what are necessary, then having savings and investings, just perfectly was displayed within that. You don't want to touch the money that is meant to keep you afloat. That's kind of like the same way of, if you have a business and the business is the thing that's funding you, keep money in the business, like invest in the business so that you can keep using the excess cash flow to then, increase. Like, for an example, my company, right? Anytime that I make $1 with the company, I put the money back into the company. Why? Because the only way I made that $1 was from the company. So I would not want to move the money that is for the company and put that money into something else. If anything, I move the money from me, having freelance gigs or working, jobs on the side, and I put that money into the business, which that might be an area where you could be like, bro, why are you investing your own personal money into the business? Well, in order to start a business, I had to invest my personal anyways. So, that's different versus having like a big investment or venture capitalism or, going off of a loan, etc. I had to put my own money up front to even start the company. But anytime I made $1 with the company, I said, this is the company's money. This isn't CJ's money. This is, Croace's money, or this is barbershop money, or this is, etc. So I said it to say, when you have money that's set aside for taking care of your family, use that money to take care of your family. Don't use that money to try and get rich quick. Like, come on now, dog. We understand how to be, rational adults here.
Get yourself a boring money guy.
Or be the boring money guy.
You're good at investing, so keep some of that separate. Never trust anybody with everything you've worked for, but be comfortable letting them manage the proceeds and benchmark against your performance. You can now afford good lawyers and accountants that will help you to sleep better at night and keep more of your money. Investments, wills, trusts, and taxes are all managed by professionals. Nobody is perfect, but it is great having them in your corner. Number 14, start investing alongside more experienced investors.
Now that's another
As
thing
you grow,
too.
you
You want to
realize
be
some
around other
opportunities
people
are
that are on the same
outside your
mindset as
budget
you.
range.
That's why I
Reward-
find it so important to make these videos and to also watch these type of videos. You want to be around other people that are thinking the same things as you, bro. If you want to be on that investment stuff, you want to be around other people that are on that investment stuff too. Like, I'm trying to be around strictly people that are actually putting themselves in a position to succeed and aren't just living for the moment. You know what I mean? You could live for the moment, but that shouldn't be your goal. Your goal shouldn't be to just live a life of constant vanity and pleasure. Like, that's just such a backwards way of thinking, in my opinion. I like to be around other people that, you know, talk about money, talk about investing, and not just in the sense of, you know, oh, well, you know, like it's drama. No, I like people that talk about it as if it's opportunity. Like, bro, let's just go out and do this. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a hard thing to do. You just got to be around people that think the same as you. And if you aren't around them, join those online communities. Like, this is an example of an online community where I think and I talk about wealth. If this is a active conversation, then let's talk about wealth and let's watch videos like this about wealth and get in the comments and, you know what I'm saying, ask good questions and show that you're actually trying to prompt and create thinking for, you know what I mean, something that's even greater. Sometimes I ask myself questions. Like, I challenge myself. Like, yo, bro, what's your action plan? Like, what's going to make you be different? Like, what's going to make you stand out? How are you going to be able to invest in your long-term future? What are you using your money for? What is the purpose behind the dollars that you increase or earn? Why do you want to earn money? What are you doing with money? Who are you taking care of with money? Who are you putting this into? You know, what do you want to pay the people that work for you? What do you want to pay the people that work with you? How do you want to work with people? Like, these are questions that I ask myself because that's how I prompt my own thinking and say, I'm not using money just to have it or just to have it around. Like, I'm thinking about money as an actual tool, not just as a blanket. You get what I mean? Like, money's not a blanket. Money's an asset. It's a resource. You know, money is water. You get what I mean?
Time you thought you needed to have extreme wealth to do these kinds of plays. But now you're discovering people with a similar net worth to yours coming together, pooling resources to make plays that you could never make on your own. So you find your people.
Real
you
estate.
do deals together and become friends. You buy some international properties to mitigate geographical risk. You're happy knowing that you have some wealth parked somewhere far, far away. You join investor groups, you sit on boards, you advise, and life is pretty cool. In most of these businesses, you're no longer number one carrying all the weight on your shoulders. You're the one that number one comes to for advice or a second opinion. A great position to be in. You smile as you realize your wealth is growing faster than your earned income ever did. And number 15, you win when your investments can acquire more cash flowing assets. A $2.5 million portfolio compounding at 10% will buy you a $250,000 studio apartment every year. That studio gets rented out and you have even more cash flow. The value of the property keeps climbing as the hedge against inflation, and your net worth will keep growing until you die. If you get to the point where your assets buy more assets, you will die a rich man. How much money do you need where you live for your portfolio to buy a small studio apartment every single year? Let us know in the comments. And since this is technically a Sunday motivational video, of course, you are getting a bonus, my friend, and that bonus is to be perpetually curious. Now, this isn't some kind of generic mumbo-jumbo advice, okay? It's actually important to ask questions and shut up and listen. Play dumb, ask questions, and listen. Be curious. How do you make money? Why do you invest there? How does that work? Now, this doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. We want to feel validated, so we're offering the info to make ourselves feel good. Every ultra high net worth individual that we've interacted with was incredibly curious to learn how we do things, because it gives them a better understanding of how business is done today. It keeps them sharp and allows them to know what superpowers the people around them have. If you'll be worth over $10 million when you die, write the word over in the comments. Let's see how many of you are going after this challenge. We'll see you back here next time, Alexer.
Appreciate y'all tuning into the video. Yeah, bro. I think this was a pretty good video. It prompted a lot of good thinking. we'll probably add in another video, be able to talk some more about, you know, some things that we think. Yeah. And catch y'all in the next clip video.